Welcome to this session on ethics and equality in sport and in your coaching. For what is ethical practice? Is it, the balance of right and wrong? So what are ethics? Basically relate to moral principles, and this is definition from the Oxford Dictionary. To be moral is to be concerned with the goodness or badness of human behaviour, with the distinction between right and wrong. Okay, so what is right and wrong? And I guess this applies in a coaching context to actually how we behave as coaches, how children behave in our sessions, which we're going to move on to in behaviour management, but also, what's ethically correct. The UK Sport Vision for Sport Coaching, 2008, has the following. So the UK Sport Vision stated by 2012, so, whether they've achieved this, I don't know. The practice of coaching in the UK will be elevated to a professional acknowledged essential to the development of sport and fulfilment of individual potential. Inherent in this statement is the young participants will be coached in a way that is responsive to their needs, based on clear principles, accredited coaches, accepted ethical principles and values. So, ethical practice, although it's not kind of mentioned in that kind of vision statement, which was meant to be achieved by 2012, is featured as part of sporting structures and sports coaching for the last decade or even more. And ensuring that we create an environment where we're qualifying people, ensuring they have a good understanding, but also have good accepted and kind of ethical principles and values in their delivery. And you'll probably see examples of unethical behaviour and kind of treatment of individuals in sport, often publicised in the press. And obviously these negative occurrences are always kind of discussed rather than all the positive stuff that goes on. So press and information always focus on those one-off or, minimal kind of negative experiences, whether that's a coach not behaving in a correct way. I guess the kind of key thing with football in particular at the minute is all the kind of stuff coming out about child abuse and the things that have been going on, in the last 20 years in terms of football setting. So focusing on this kind of ethical practice, we have a duty of care. Coaches owe a duty of care to athletes with whom they work that makes the coach-athlete relationship special. This may mean that what is acceptable behaviour in the wider community is not acceptable between an athlete and a coach. So it's around having an understanding of this duty of care and what that involves. And we'll move on to discuss kind of duty of care in more detail when we look at this session on safeguarding and child protection. So equality in the UK, basically there's lots of different acts and policies in place produced by government and various agencies to ensure there's equality. And these also then link to in a sporting setting. So you've got the racial equality acts, the equal opportunities, you've got the Equality and Human Rights Act, and the following kind of Equality and Rights Commission. If you look at the Equality and Human Rights website, you'll find lots of information about equality in the UK. So who ensures equality in sport? So you've got some key agencies and organisations. We'll focus on the UK, but things will apply to the US or whatever country you're based in. The Equality Stand for Sport is a sporting agency that looks at equality in sport. The Sports Council of Equality Group, and then UK Sport also have kind of key agendas and information around equality in sport. And you can see from the following links here within this folder some of those websites which you'll be able to look at in terms of equality in sport. Focusing on a more local level, every sport organisation should have some sort of equality policy or agenda, from Sport Wales, Sport England, to local authorities, Community First, Community Sport Trust partnerships, Community Sporting Partnership, national governing bodies and leisure facilities. So what are the key areas to consider in terms of equality? It could be around age, disability, gender, religion or belief, culture, race, sex, sexual orientation, or even political opinion. So everyone always asks the question, what do you mean by political opinion? Well, let's give a localised example. Northern Ireland, kind of Catholic, Protestant, different political opinions within that agenda and how that impacts, in a sporting environment. So there's lots of things to consider within this equality area. We're not going to cover everything on all of those groups within today's session, but I guess the key thing to start off with is getting an understanding of cultural competence, which we'll look at in the next session.